All right, here we are. I think I got at 6 o'clock. I'll call it 6. It's like 6. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Pursuant Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 20, hereby informing all attendees that a video and audio recording will be made of the meeting. If anyone else intends to record the meeting, they must let the chair know. First up, we have a continued special permit hearing from TTSB 40 Limestone Road. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, planning board.
He's with you too, right?
Yes, Kurt and
Kurt, oh, I gotta let Kurt in.
and Mike.
Mike, there we go. Great.
Can you say who you are for the record?
Yeah, Richard Frederick. I'm the executive director for community television for the Southern Berkshires.
I'm Sean Sayre. I'm the executive director of PCTV and WTBR FM.
Hey. So
Good to see you back.
good to see you guys. You were gonna get us a little bit more of a plan.
Yes, I have a copy of the structural components and I have the 6 copies of the final plans. I tried to make them bigger, but the way that they were sent to me, they couldn't be blown up to 24 by
And
36.
that shows a location that you're putting the antenna.
And all the parts and pieces.
Great.
I also sent a digital copy in as well. So you should have a digital copy on file.
Oh, wow. You're right. Hmm.
It's quite thorough. This is the structurals on the antenna by itself. Is there a site plan?
Should be a site plan in there, yes.
Oh, is it the site plan?
Yes.
What page?
The
D1.
B1, what is page 4, I think, or 6.
Oh. Is there any plan? Sorry, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead. I'm looking at this and,
Is there a site plan here that shows the
measurements.
of the lot and where this dimension of where this is from the street, where the tower is from the street?
Maybe Kurt or Mike could answer that.
I think the
That's really what we're looking
foundation-
for, guys, is the distance from property line and to the street.
I think it's the scale on there, isn't it? I mean, that's a standard drawing that's given to most building inspectors. Or all building inspectors for that matter. That's what they typically submit. With the setbacks scaled to size. Are there no measurements on there as far as the edges of the property? I'm not sure if that's
Which sheet?
on there or not.
Which
I'm
sheet?
driving.
Which sheet should I be looking at? D1? The D1. It's basically, it's an aerial with the antenna is being imposed on it. It's to the right of the building. You got I mean, it depicts where it is relative to the street, relative to the building, but doesn't give anything that's dimensionally from. It's supposed to show the property line configuration where it is. Yeah, like we have no idea even how much property you have.
Yes.
How much frontage, how much acreage, what setback of, the building's there, so it was not an issue. It's where is the dimensions of the tower to
That's really all we need.
the property line into the street. And in the code, there's a provision for a certain distance. Kind of what the height of the tower is gonna be. I think it's 125%. I forget what it was, but there's a certain, I think it's a chop saw. If this thing ever fell, does it go
Yeah, the
over?
tower is 40 feet tall with an appurtenance on it.
Yeah, so if it ever fell, is it gonna go over a property line? Is it gonna go out into the street right away? Those kinds of things.
But we, it's done.
Can I, Mr. Chairman, can I
Go
just
ahead.
offer that?
Yeah.
That, I think we may be asking for something that's reasonable to ask for, but not really needed. The location of the tower, the aerial view shows the building, the parking lot, some cars. And it's a 40-foot tower, right? So I
Mhm.
can't do anything but roughly estimate, but if the tower fell over, it would be roughly the length of about 2.5 cars on that scale. And there's nothing there but their own building that would be harmed by that. So I don't think we should persist in asking them to come back and provide the boundary lines. If it's not gonna fall on anything, even if it falls on a boundary line, it's not gonna do any harm, I don't think.
Oh, yeah, there's no residence.
Right.
Nothing, no other buildings for it to hit.
Yeah.
So I think we can just waive it's a little sloppy not to have it, but I think in this case, it's so remote and rural that I think we should just approve it.
Yeah, the tower is 56 feet tall.
Okay, so it's 3 cars, 3.5.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like an inch. It'll, if it fell over, it'd be like an inch on this page.
What if we move ahead and just ask them to come up with the, property line?
Sure.
I mean,
It's applied to the building
I think
department.
that would be more than enough.
It's applied to the building department when they go to file.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
provide a copy for us so we can put it in our file.
Yeah. Okay. You want me to make a
Pull it up.
motion?
I would love one.
I move that we approve the site plan with one condition that the CTSB will file a revised site map showing distance from the tower, showing the boundaries, the lot boundaries and the distance to the nearest boundary. And that they would file that within 2 weeks of tonight.
Can that be hand marked up on that?
That'd be fine.
Great.
You just give a couple arrows with a distance and that would really be great.
Just to
Rich, is
qualify.
that something you can take care of?
Yes, I can obtain the property lines or the correct map and get it to Kurt for him to.
Right.
Yeah, yes.
I mean, you even go on our town's GIS and there's a distance tool there and it'd be easy.
Conrad had another thought though. Yeah.
Conrad?
Okay, your motion was for a site plan approval.
Yes.
This is an application for a special permit.
Right, but we have to do the site plan first.
Well, no, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Are we doing them both collectively or are we gonna do site plan approval first and then go to?
We'll do site plan approval first and then we'll do special
I
permit.
didn't, I forgot. Yeah.
No, so what you have now is good for site plan approval.
Yeah,
And then we'll go to the special permit after that.
yeah, okay.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? And noting the date of the submitted plan.
So what we're approving is a.
Guys, I don't know if you can hear us or not, but we've lost your feed.
Hey, Mike, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I can see a square for you, but I don't see the meeting anymore.
No, they dropped out. The signal dropped out on it.
Yeah, I guess it's just you and me that are remote.
Yeah.
Oh, well. I guess we can try to dial back in again.
No, I think they've lost connectivity there.
That's what
There's
it
a-
sounds like, yeah. I don't know if they'll be able to restart it, will they? You there, Mike?
Hang on, please.
Oh.
I know Sean's on the floor. I just sent him a text telling him the feeds disappeared.
Okay.
They're still there. Sorry about that.
We're here.
Okay, we dropped out. Okay, so we have.
Chairman,
site plan.
I move that, the board make 5 findings as I will now describe. Number 1, structure is in compliance with all provisions and requirements of this chapter and in harmony with its general intent and purpose. I reached this conclusion based upon the fact that the structure is a antenna of 56-foot height.
Yes.
And it's located in a rural area that if it fell, it would be unlikely to harm anything except the owner's building. That further that we have already approved the site plan on the condition that they will file a subsequent boundary description and a measurement to the nearest boundary. The second finding is that the structure is essential or desirable to the public convenience or welfare at the proposed location. I think that finding is justified because the antenna will improve their ability to transmit FM signals, which is of interest to the public. The third finding is that the structure will not be detrimental to adjacent uses or to the established or future character of the neighborhood. That conclusion is based on the fact that it's an radio antenna and will have little or no effect on the character of the neighborhood. It's already a commercial planned development area. Fourth finding is that there will not be undue traffic congestion or undue impairment to pedestrian safety. It will have no effect on traffic congestion or pedestrian safety. Fifth finding is that the structure will not overload any public water drainage or sewer system or other municipal facility to such an extent that the proposed use or any existing use of the immediate area or in any other area of the town will be unduly subjected to hazards affecting public health, safety, or general welfare. And there is no impacts of this structure on any of those municipal facilities, such as water drainage or sewer systems. Therefore, the finding is, we can make the finding that because there's no effect. In summary, I move that the board make those 5 findings, subject to any augmentation that the board members might want to make on reasons for the supporting the findings. Looks like not, yeah.
That's it. Condition was already in the site plan.
Yeah, the condition was in the site plan. We can incorporate it again here if you want,
Why
but,
don't we? Yep.
okay. And the condition, as best I remember, was that within 2 weeks, the CTSB will file a revised site plan showing boundaries and distance to the nearest boundary.
Yes, sir.
Motion, second? I'll second. Dave seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Conrad?
Aye.
Peg?
Hi.
Dave? Aye. Peter?
Aye.
Buck Donovan, aye. Thank you, gentlemen.
Great. Thank you very much.
Finally,
huh?
Finally. It's been a little bit of a long road.
Not a sprint.
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a nice
See you.
holiday.
Okay, thank you, fellas.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Which that way, you would have to make a decision by tomorrow. 90 days.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, right. We did-
but I think because the continuance was their request. I don't think we get held to that. If we take no action in 90 days.
Yeah, that's not the way I read it.
No,
The
you're
hearing,
right. I kind of always, you might be right. Yeah,
the hearing start date, the application was 8/5. The hearing start date was 8/26. Then it was continued for the reasons. But then I think the way they've read is there's a decision date is 90 days from the start of the. So basically, if we hadn't acted on it, it's an automatic approval.
oh, you're right, yeah. So we,
You
if
don't
there
think,
was a
you don't
problem,
think that a voluntary continuance
no,
stops the clock?
So I'm not sure.
I don't think so. I think
I don't
we-
think
if
so.
it was a real problem, I think we would have had to
Deny it?
and
Yeah.
then have
Make
to
a refund.
resubmit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Another $500 or whatever
Yeah.
it is.
but we didn't have to do that for you.
Yeah.
So,
No, yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
yeah,
The 90 days is up tomorrow.
yeah.
I'd be a little
Well-
surprised if that could be waived, but I don't know the law. Yeah.
Okay, public comment. Hope Kathy's okay. Been a long, haven't seen her. Next up, approval of minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I sent a couple of edits in today to Samantha. So I'm gonna move the approval of the minutes, but I'm gonna, once it's seconded, I'm gonna show you what changes I made.
Okay,
I'll second it.
Okay, on page 2, first complete sentence, says, Mr. Cohen intimated that working with Roger Schurer on the dam. I changed the last part of this sentence. It was kind of nonsensical the way she had it. It said that she submitted it. It was like Roger Schurer, working with Roger Schurer on the dam will make it better working with Roger Schurer on the dam. And so I think what he said was that it would lead to better working relationships for beach access. So that's what I wrote in here.
Good.
And on the next page, in the long paragraph at the top, read up from the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines up. There was discussion of the proposal for the development of the Price Chopper lot on Main and Park Streets. That's unchanged. She didn't really figure out what we concluded, and I think what we concluded was that the applicants would have to start from the beginning since it had been 2 years since the original application.
mhm.
So that's what I submitted.
There was much discussion regarding, in parentheses, I'm not sure who was being referenced.
I'm not either.
Well, wasn't it the yeah, it was much discussion regarding what was allowed under the smart growth thing. And there was a concern about how that was being reviewed 2 years ago, whenever it was, and how it will be reviewed now if we're changing the code and how that would affect their number of units. They were proposing 60 and 20, I think it was close to 80 units. And if the smart growth thing was being changed for this particular applicant, which was benchmark, I believe that's where we were referencing. Benchmark was the,
I think we're okay just leaving it as
just leave it like that. Okay,
because it might be a different, they might have changed their business structure. I mean,
or you can just say
trying to
contract
say-
purchaser.
It was Benchmark that I spoke with. That was what led to the
Yeah.
discussion that's referred to
Yeah.
here. And it was Benchmark that was approved 2 years ago, but they might not come back. There might be somebody else that comes back. I
Yeah.
called him today, by the way, to ask for an update, and he didn't return my call, so I don't know. So
The other issue was on, just academic, on the second page. Third paragraph down, Mr. Bloom moved to approve the Eagle Mill development. But as it went on, then we started describing in detail for Mr. Cohen that units authorized to be increased from 128 to 143. And then we isolated what was going where, comprising 56 units in phase one, reconstruction of the Eagle Mill, 43 units in the new building constructed upriver of that on the east end in the phase two, and 3 parts in phase three, which we identified as 9 units in the machine shop, 23 units in the new building to be constructed alongside Route 20 and between the highway and the machine shop. That's the part I got a problem with. That's not where that building is. That building is the far end, the eastern
Where?
end between the railroad tracks and the
No, I think you're mistaking. I think that the phase two is the upriver building alongside between the railroad tracks and the river.
correct. And the other areas were gonna be, there's another building, no, let me just pass it around.
Great. Yeah,
Because it, you know, even when we were talking about this, we were trying to figure out what buildings are going where. There you go. So on this sketch identifies the various buildings. You go, top far left. That's where the condos were gonna go, the 6 condos.
up here.
Okay, that was approved. The next building is the Union Mill Apartments. The Union Mill and the Eagle Mill Apartments are one building collectively under the permit.
That's phase one.
That's phase one.
Those two buildings are phase one.
Okay, so the Eagle Mill Apartments, is that the one they're identifying as the,
Phase two.
huh?
The one way to the right would be phase two, isn't it?
Right. It includes the old machine room? The paper machine one?
No, I don't know. So phase one is identified on this map as both Union
And
Mill and Eagle Mill.
Yes,
That's phase one.
that's under.
That's what's under
today.
construction right now.
Yep.
Yeah. Phase two is the building on the right, Eagle Mill Apartments,
That's right.
the long narrow building.
All the way the far east,
Sorry, upriver, up east, yes.
okay,
And phase three is
combination
all the
of,
stuff on the left
Mhm.
of this map.
okay,
The
so,
condos that are now apartments, machine shop, and what in my copy has got a red X through it. It says 2-story something or other,
Townhouse.
residential
Mixed use.
mixed. So that's the one you want to talk about, Conrad, right? That one?
all right, so phase three will be the 9 units in the machine shop. We're good with that. Where's the 23 units in the new building?
Right next to the road, right next to Route 20.
No. That's not being built. That was supposed to be where the hotel was going.
Yeah, first it was going to be a hotel, then it was an apartment building. That's correct.
So there's an approval right now for apartments on that building that was supposed to be a hotel.
Mixed use.
At the same, on the, more or less the same footprint, possibly exactly the same footprint. The hotel is gone and that building
Right.
is now an apartment building. It was approved.
We had discussions about being too close to the road and.
Yeah, what about the
trucks and
people in the
exhaust
second
and-
windows
Right.
with the exhaust and
Yep.
All right.
trucks going by? And yeah, I remember that very clearly. It was, I was thinking, I wouldn't want to live, that close to Route 20.
Exactly.
Okay, so the hotel, the prior hotel piece of this thing is now the 23 units new building constructed along Route 20 and the highway
In phase three.
in under
Yes,
phase three,
yes.
and then the machine shop. Then the townhouse. Okay, so essentially this is correct.
Yep.
Okay, all right.
I think. Good check to it, though. Good to check.
Yes.
It is.
Well, no, because when he was on the line there or even here, we kept talking about it. We're trying to figure out
I know.
which units are going where and adding them up to make sure they all added up. And
Yeah.
and then we finally came up with this 128 up to 143, and
I don't
then
I have no idea why he wouldn't have just presented us with another plot plan.
Well, I kept hinting at it.
He just did, it wasn't coming. It's like, oh, I've given you all the information. It's like, no, you really haven't. Thing done for God.
We gotta be tougher with.
Just get things done. God. Okay, so any other, Okay.
As corrected.
that's correct, as amended?
Motion and seconded, I think.
Yep.
As amended.
Okay, Conrad? Peg?
Aye.
Dave? Aye. Peter?
Aye.
Buck Donovan, aye. Okay, next up, correspondence.
Oh,
Let's see, first off, we sent our letter to the DOT. And somehow I asked Chris to send it, on town letterhead from the planning board, but the letter went back to Chris, their reply. Basically, it's to us. And he says, Mass DOT is in receipt of the letter from the members of the Lee Planning Board. As correctly noted, these sites are Mass DOT property and are currently being used as laydown areas for active construction projects. However, we also understand your concern for the appearance of the areas as people enter your town. Mass DOT will direct the contractors using these areas to neaten them up to the best of their ability now. We will also ensure that they are left in an orderly condition over the winter and any unnecessary material or equipment will be removed. We also assure you that when the work is completed, these areas will be completely cleaned up and all equipment and debris will be removed. Any questions, please contact Scott Stevens, Mass DOT Construction Engineer. That's very good. I'm happy with that.
That's progress. Thank you.
That's progress. You know him?
No.
Were you still there?
I know
There-
Francesca.
Yep.
Scott Stevens was there. He's a long termer.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. So. All right, we have also town of Stockbridge. Do you guys want to go through all of these? We have two from town of Stockbridge.
Special permits in other towns.
Yep,
Yeah.
special permits in other town. We have Beckett and we have Lennox.
I mean, if somebody's building, Cape Canaveral spaceport on our border,
Yeah.
we probably ought to know about it,
Yeah.
but.
Yeah, but if
this means
anybody's
special permit.
have heard of anything,
Yeah.
they're here.
Biodiesel plant.
Biomass
Mm.
in Beckett. All the
Oh,
the
boy.
trees. Okay, next up, we have a site plan from Big Y. That's our big packet here. Check this out. Evening, guy.
Good
You're not
evening.
eating dinner tonight.
No, that's coming up shortly. I'm in the office still. Thanks.
All right, I hear you.
Oh,
Getting ready for Thanksgiving, so I'll be eating a lot in the next couple of days.
Oh, boy. Oh, yeah, down here. It's a site. We're all to note, now this is a site plan. We haven't seen a good one in a while.
Well, it's a big plan, but a little building out there.
Little building.
Yeah.
Is there anything different from what you described last time?
Yeah, just a little bit. I actually put the actual dimensions of the building on there. And the detail on sheet SD1, it shows it as a 12 by 44. That's the size of the box, but they call it a 12 by 48 because the tongue of the trailer is 4 feet long. So I showed a 12 by 48 box. And then I got an email this morning that looks like they're going with a total 12 by 50. So slightly bigger, so 2 feet bigger than what I'm showing here. But yeah, that's essentially what I did is I put the plan to scale here so you could get a better representation of where it's located on the site relative to the existing building. It's 10 feet away. I'm showing two options for the accessible ramp.
Yeah,
One option is to have the ramp touch down near the main door, and the second one is to have it actually tie into the canopy and the sidewalk that's at the Big Y. I think that gives better access to the existing ADA spaces, which you can see kind of on the north plan northeast of the 20 scale details. That way people can come into the sidewalk, get protected under the canopy, and then access the main door for the patrons. But again, this is Verizon is going to actually put the building in and install it, so that they're going to make the decision on the ground as to working with the building inspector as to what the best method is for making the ADA ramp go into the building. So I'm showing the two options. Unless the commissioner were to say, yeah, they want to have option 2, then that would be relayed to Verizon and as the preferred option.
and this is, you have temporary all over this, so that is the intent, that once Verizon is into their tenant space, this will be removed.
Yeah, that is correct. I found some more detail since our last meeting. Apparently there's Snap Fitness is in the building. There's 2 tenants, and there's a liquor store, and then Snap Fitness takes the last tenant space. Their lease doesn't expire till the end of 2025. Their Big Y is negotiating with them to try to get them out early. As soon as they get out, they're going to remodel that space. So they say it's 2 to 3 months maximum to remodel the space. So the worst case scenario would be till March of 2026. And I don't know when it would start. You know, they're working on trying to procure a trailer and get all that in. It may take a month or 2 before they actually get all that set up. So it could be, they could be operating in January. And if the lease doesn't expire until December, then it would be 2 to 3 months after that. So that's the worst case scenario. But yeah, it would be temporary. As soon as Snap Fitness is done, Verizon is going to have a lease in there, and they'll be operating their store. But apparently they want to get in the ground. They want a presence in town at this plaza. So Verizon's willing to put up a temporary facility just so they can get a presence here in town, in that part of town anyway. I don't know if they have a store anywhere else in town, but they really want to get in this center here.
Okay,
So that's it, and it would
all
have
right, go ahead, Peter.
I'm sorry. It would have a bathroom in it, and that bathroom would have a tank underneath that would be emptied routinely, would have an alarm system on there when it gets full, and there would be a water source also brought in for flushing of the toilet. It'd be one bathroom for employees only. And then it would have electric service coming in off of the existing building that's there. And that's pretty much it.
Guy, if we were to approve this temporary building with an outer date for its removal, what would be a comfortable outer date? Would it be April, May, June, something like that of 25?
Yeah, I think that would be fine. I'm thinking March, but April would be, I think April would be fine.
26.
Did you
right?
say
26. April 26, yeah.
April 30th, perhaps.
That'd be
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah, there's no reason they couldn't get it. It's all work inside, so the remodeling would take place under, heated conditions. They could bang that out in a couple months. Mhm.
Any other question? Anyone?
My preference is option 2
Me also, for the ramp.
for the ramp, yeah. Yeah, because you see where the handicap parking is.
Yeah.
There's no handicap parking down that end.
Yeah.
Look where they gotta go to get up that real large ramp configuration there. Just option 2 just cleans it up much nicer.
And it keeps them more in the pedestrian area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And away from, you got trucks going all around the back there. I mean, that's just a,
And I think people would have the tendency to park back there if they had that.
Yep.
Okay.
so this would be a tight tank. And
Yes,
it
sir.
would be, something I guess, health department's gotta deal with that, I guess, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
they do these routinely for like temporary construction trailers and stuff. So they have a tight tank that fits in. The building has a skirt that goes around the bottom of it, and it's got some insulation in there. And then if the tank needs to be heated, that's all taken care of. So yeah, it would be a tight tank, and they would have a service with the company that empties porta potties and that kind of thing that would come and remove that on a regular basis. So
Do you have a water service that's gonna be directed to the,
Well, what we anticipate is that there would be another tank for water. It would be non-potable for flushing the toilet, and then they would have like a fountain water service that would come in for drinking water for those that are in the office. That's typically how it's done, like a construction trailer. They'll have bottled water and they have the 5 gallon water
Sure.
fountain
no,
and the service that does that. Yeah. And of course, whatever the building
I'm
code,
okay with this if you guys are.
yeah, whatever the building code requirements are, we certainly would have to meet those for the installation of this.
So Conrad, are you saying you prefer that the board approve only option 2 or?
Yes.
Okay.
Option 2 for the ramp.
Yeah.
For a number of reasons. I mean, yeah, handicap accessibility, where the parking is, and handicap parking proximity to the canopy. I mean, that just makes a lot of sense.
And then, you want to do the motion?
Sure. Make a motion to approve the Verizon store temporary structure on the Big Y property in accordance with the loans provided by Pescott and Associates. Dated
10/28.
10/28/24.
10/28, revised dated 11/13/2024. With the provision that the applicant go forward with option 2 with regard to the accessibility to the building by customers as well as handicap accessibility. That the applicant go to the building department, make sure that the water and sewer connections are appropriate for them. And the idea that this would be a temporary
We're gonna
structure
get snow out.
with an outside date of
Not that I care.
May 1, 2026.
Not gonna snow.
No. All the access will be over.
I'll second that.
Okay, Peg seconds.
Can I ask Guy, did you come here hoping to have both options approved by the board, or in other words, do you have an objection at all to
Well,
having us narrow?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm showing the 2 because I'm not sure what Verizon wants to pick, but I do personally recommend that the safer option be the one that's selected. And I think either of those are constructible. So at your discretion, I would certainly support option 2.
Thank you.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone else? Okay, around the room, Conrad,
Aye.
Peg,
Aye.
Dave? Aye. Peter?
Aye.
Bob Donovan, aye.
I appreciate your time and have a happy
Thank you.
Thanksgiving, all of you.
Yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving.
So,
Bye now. Thank you.
My bizarro world, it was way too easy. We just gonna stay here, I guess.
okay. Good enough.
And now it's back to just us.
Now the fun begins.
Oh, God.
You ready for this?
Deep press all.
Ready?
Sure.
So we did a review, I don't know, a couple of months ago of an outline. And I went back and wrapped it up, mostly what you decided, and I wrote an email, a pretty long email covering it, describing what I had done, and I think identifying any changes from what we had previously discussed. I think probably the thing to do tonight is to go through the draft, and I think you have a draft in front of you. So shall we begin that way? So the first section, proposal 1 is to rezone the RA 40 zoning district into the R30 district. This will reduce the lot sizes required in that area. And the reasoning is that some of those lots there may not be much of a change in boundaries, but there may be some lots where they could be divided into 2 housing units instead of 1. And the original goal of this apparently was to promote agriculture, which has been largely unsuccessful as far as I know. So we're saying that basically in the residential areas, including this one, there is a 30,000 square foot minimum lot size in all of them as the largest minimum lot size. We have a 20,000 square foot area, as you know. But right now we have 20, 30, and 40. And so if this passed, we would have 20 and 30, and all the 40s would be collapsed down into the 30s. So I think I've explained that in a way that everybody follows, right? Okay.
As a proposal one.
Proposal one. Proposal two is to amend 4.2, and 4.2 is a gigunda section. It goes on for, I don't know, 10 pages or so. And I could try to collapse this, but we're familiar with it, having read it many times, I'm sure. And I just don't know what the best way is to present it to the town. Certainly, it's very cumbersome to have this many pages of largely unaltered text. I did make some changes where I thought there was unnecessary verbiage, like on the first page, if you look at A1B, we have, or A1A says detached one family dwelling, and B says detached two family dwelling, and then it goes on and on and on about other provisions of this chapter, which really applies to everything else, whether you say it or not. So when you say something in one place and you don't say it in another place that's just the same, sort of implies that you don't want it to be applied there. So it's just very confusing. I think we're better off without it. So I made that, if we're going to present this long section, I think we should make some of those changes, but they're not urgent. Let's go to the next page. So we're in.
Well, before you do that,
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
No, that's good.
The bottom of the page, you got 2A, B, C, and D.
Yes.
As we're dealing with the carpenter, electrician, painter, plumber, artisan. No manufacturing or business requires 2 or more employees. Should that be no manufacturing business requiring no more than 2 employees? We're applying 2 or more employees in a R20 zone. And somebody's doing a carpenter with 4 employees. I mean, do we want that to occur in an R20 zone? 4 employees, but it's supposed to be
It's a home occupation.
it's a home occupation, right? But now if you have 4 employees, is that?
No, how do you get 4?
It's just 2 or more.
Oh, wait, well, I think, Conrad, I think it is clumsy. I think what it means is no manufacturing or business may involve 2 or more employees or something like that.
So it says no manufacturing or business requires,
Yeah,
uh,
provided, you gotta read the provided that. So you're allowed to have a home occupation provided that you don't have 2 or more employees. I think that's what it says.
That's how yes, when you read the first section and then roll into that, the requires makes that come on, English teacher. There's something in there, where if you had just that sentence, you would need another word in there.
Yeah, if it was, I mean, if it was a standalone sentence, it would need a
Yeah.
verb, but provided that, I think, makes it readable.
okay, so. if you have a
Provided
home-
that no manufacturing requires 2 employees. You can have 1 employee in a manufacturing on a home occupation, but not 2.
More.
Or you cannot have 3, you cannot have 4.
But you could have 2.
No,
No,
You can't.
no manufacturing requires 2 or more.
so you could have
More.
1,
I think every time you read it, you need to include the first,
provided that.
that's right,
Yeah.
on the premises.
Well, it's provided that applies all 4, A, B, C, and D. So, I mean, we could put it in 4 times.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Okay, so the intent is
So,
home occupations, 1 person,
One
not 2
helper.
people,
1 person, 1 helper.
but you can have 2 people.
Well, the
No.
homeowner and an employee.
Yeah, 1 employee, the homeowner and the employee.
well, then we have to change this, right?
No,
No,
I think it's hard, but I think it's right.
Two or more.
You have,
Could,
you have the tradesman and one employee.
To help,
You
but
kinda-
no more than that.
No more than that,
And that's reasonable for a R20 home occupation.
I think. So.
It's a matter of judgment. In my prior location, when I was last doing this kind of job 40 years ago, I had a couple of guys on the committee that were libertarians and they were ready to have auto plants and home occupations, no limit to the number of employees. So my only point is that it's a matter of personal judgment.
Yep.
But the judgment we made here, and I think this has been rewritten, but I don't think it's been changed. I think this is the way it was originally.
Okay. Along that same line, A, B, C, D, should there be an E? Well, first of all, there's got to be an E because we're missing it next page.
oh, yeah.
So
I don't know what happened to E. I don't know. Let's see.
that's okay. I'm adding one.
Oh, a new one?
Huh?
You're adding a new one? Or, it goes from D to F as it's printed.
It goes D to D.
The next page is,
Right.
next page is F. I don't know what happened to E.
Okay, so if I got an E slot, I was gonna put them in the.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm just trying to make sure that I didn't inadvertently omit something.
I'm looking in the original here.
So I guess where I was going with this, as far as adding an E, there should be a provision there for, again, this is a home-based business, right? Should there be no more than 2 commercial vehicles associated with such trade to be allowed? The reason I'm putting that is, I know business in town, I know you guys know business in town, and they've got 4 trucks in their yard, in an R20 zone. I mean, they're doing it, but, is that a restriction we should employ here? No more than 2 commercial vehicles. That, you still get your Explorer in the garage and all that stuff. I'm talking about
Oh,
2 vans or 2 pickup trucks with plows on it or whatever. I'm just bringing it up because we have a spot in the E that we're missing.
It's not.
This is confusing.
It's not in there.
It's not.
The F
F
is,
is a different kind of F.
is the deck, yes. Found it too, okay.
So what do you think
What-
about that?
Yeah, if we're gonna have this whole section in there, it invites lots of changes of all sorts. It doesn't have anything to do with making housing more available, but I'm not opposed to it.
Well, I don't want to make this more complicated. I just,
There will be people who won't like it. Probably, it's a new restriction.
well, then you got some businesses that are doing it now. And is that going to be considered pre-existing non-conforming because they've been doing it for years?
How do they have 4 trucks with 1 employee?
No, it's,
That's my
there's a
point.
couple landscape companies around
Yeah.
that have all
Store
their
their trucks. that-
or have all their trucks and equipment at their home.
The trucks, the plows, the sanders,
I could take a one up on Summer Street.
Oh, I was thinking, Cape Street, not Cape Herb. Is it Water Street? He's still there, Barado,
Yeah,
right?
there's Martin Ave, there's others.
But,
Yeah.
Brick Hill,
Yeah,
instead of stop Summer Street.
yeah.
So I mean, are we gonna, and then, who's gonna enforce it? Gonna have an officer? I mean, with this guy. I don't know how he can do his job if we keep adding more to it.
Mhm.
I guess
that's true.
there's business here, but it's like they're doing this for decades. We're not asking. anybody
I'd say
to change.
let's stay to the housing.
Hmm.
I'd like to stick to the housing part of this.
Okay.
Ready to go on?
If that poses a I don't know, is it a problem or is it just,
The neighbor's mind,
Well, that would bring it.
I mean,
to
we
our
already
attention,
have it.
then
We already have it
haven't
here.
heard anything from any
No,
neighbors
that's true.
other than,
Well, that's dealing with employees. That's not dealing with equipment.
yeah, but if you have that much equipment, you have that many employees.
Because they're gone, I'll mention it, but up on East Street next to the apartments up there, and, there was a gentleman who had that, next to where the soldiers' home was, the veterans' home, to the left of it. They're gone, now. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do. Andy Williams.
Andy Williams.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
the Humiston, the old Humiston home.
Right.
Yeah.
But that really was just him.
Yeah, that was just
So
him.
he had
But all the
so
equipment and stuff,
stuff.
That was
Right.
just him.
right, but
Yeah.
it was a sole proprietor, about one person. But
I
he
see
had,
what you're
he
saying.
had the old backyard filled with stuff.
Well, John Arnold, at that corner, there's some kind of a plague going on in that corner.
Your father's old house.
That's John Arnold.
John Arnold, oh boy.
Oh, all right, there you go.
But I hate to see him, he just recently lost his wife.
Huh?
Wife died.
Ah.
She was,
Wow.
oh, she's been sick a while.
Okay.
But you see where I'm going with this.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah.
definitely.
You can also talk about DuPont up in,
Oh,
Yeah,
maybe that's something we gotta talk about, not tonight or not this session, but that kind of stuff goes on and it just gets away and
yeah,
and it
no,
affects other people's properties and
it does.
the tax values go down. I mean, it's just, yeah, anyway.
Well, we gotta have something in place if some neighbors come in and complain to it, that we can act on.
And that's the problem with the one we're speaking of right now, because people have complained for years and
For years.
there's no mechanism in there to correct it.
Well, that's where I think we need to cover to give us the grounds to move on.
Again, that doesn't have to be
The-
tonight. I'm just
but the
thinking,
DuPont, I mean, the DuPont house would be very difficult. What sort of, zoning you would put to prevent that?
there's.
Was this the
zoning-
painting guy? Yeah. Oh, okay.
Oh, there's codes all over the place that got that kind of stuff.
There is,
I got my place down in Florida. You can't even put a damn boat
No,
in your,
but
in the
that,
front
that's
yard.
an HOA, right?
No,
It's
it's a regular neighborhood.
the town
And-
has
and-
done that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's in the code.
Yeah.
Like the guy who had a boat out in the front there, he had to put the boat in the back and he had a fence the whole thing off. There are mechanisms for that, not that, again, that doesn't have to be done tonight, but I'm just saying, that's something that it gets away and, well, be it the Williams gentleman there or,
It's that whole corner. There's, I don't know, my mother and father's old place.
oh, yeah. Yeah.
You were on that, your mother and father were on that corner?
They lived on that corner, yeah, they had a ranch, newer house, but, they sold it to some people that looks like a junkyard.
This is, oh, this is the red, white and blue. Yeah.
No, this is off of East Street,
Oh.
Street in East Center.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
Drive by it
There's
every
something
day.
about that four corners,
Buy it every
because
day.
there's another guy that's across the street and his yard looks the same way. So it's,
With the dead tree that he keeps taking a
Yeah.
picture down and everything.
it's him.
But you see where I'm
You
going.
guys
with it. I
have
mean,
depth of knowledge about this town that
And
I've
that-
been lived long enough to have, yeah.
Well, we,
but it doesn't look
But as I
nice
say, we have to
when
have,
you drive by.
we have to have something to go to if somebody complains, so we can clean it up, not last minute.
Well,
Well, some people have been complaining
there
about
might be things in the performance
certain
standards
places for
section.
years.
but others, believe me, if you mention anything about it, it's a landmark at this point.
Well,
It is,
Hey, you're talking about sign ordinances. The big one there, there's gotta be 150 square foot. Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman, is it, but a sign advertises a business.
Oh, is that where we're going with this?
That was
That's a freedom of speech sign.
that was a tribute to his, what?
We all know the
I
history.
know, we know.
Can't
that
wait
this
till
You know the
everybody
history.
watches
Yeah.
this replay. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
But it is, for the people that live nearby, I do
They-
feel
Oh, they got killed
it
for years.
derails
They get-
their property. It really
Sure
brings
does.
it down.
I think if I lived nearby, I would have a different opinion than I do living a ways away.
I know someone, whose house is immaculate, and they tried to sell it for years, but nobody wanted to
Oh,
There may be certain things you can't do about it now for certain.
Yeah, there
people.
probably
I mean,
is now.
There's a
but-
mechanism in there that would
Stop
preclude
it.
somebody from doing that in the future. And it'd be a mechanism for the CEO to enforce. Again, I'm not sure that's.
Well, would it be color?
You can't change color.
You can't,
You can have
can't
anything you
dictate
want with color.
There are towns out there that dictate the color.
I don't think you'd ever.
I
see
don't
this town
think
do
you
that.
could
No,
do that.
there are.
yeah.
Yeah, probably
Too-
is.
too big a
but not
hammer.
here.
Yeah.
I mean, we just talked about trying to do the signs
Yeah.
with the color and that caused an uproar.
Yeah.
Remember?
You can't do
Peter and I
anything,
almost got killed that meeting.
you can't do anything about the blow up balloons that.
That's right.
Waving, you know.
Well,
arms.
those are in.
For all,
there.
every season.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of,
That's, oh, yeah.
there's a lot of
not the
people that have
advertising.
that kind of stuff at Halloween and Christmas
Yeah,
that love it.
they do.
So I don't know, let's, put that on the
Yeah,
small burner and back and keep a little heat on it, but maybe not now.
Keep it warm, that's all.
Keep it warm. I don't know the answer. I really don't. All right, page 2.
I figure this is the time to bring it up if we're gonna make any changes, right?
Yeah, well, I think it's a fair question if we're gonna be presenting 10 or 15 pages of existing bylaw, whether the whole thing is open to anything we want to change, and it'll make presentation more complicated. The other way to do it would be to just, the only thing that's really going on here is changing the number of maximum units in multifamily. As
And cleaning up.
and that can be done in probably a page and a half instead of 20 pages. But there's gonna be a lot of little paragraphs with nothing but asterisks and then jumps to the next thing and jumps to the, it's gonna be harder to follow. It'll be shorter and it won't be as tempting to amend in other ways.
Sure.
I don't know which way you prefer, but it's easier to do it this way for me because,
Well,
uh,
so this is good, actually.
all right, so let's go on then. On page 2, again, we have the second paragraph, I have deletion of language that I think is unnecessary. Third paragraph, same thing. Fourth paragraph, same thing. All of this in accordance with stuff I'll just stop commenting on, okay? Does anybody object to, if we're gonna have this set out this length, getting rid of this superfluous language, and nobody minds that, right?
No.
no,
All right, then,
Number 3, just quickly,
yeah,
under D, any accessory use to be by right, whether or not on the same parcel which is necessary in connection with the scientific research and development or related production, provided that the Board of Appeals finds proposed accessory use does not substantially derogate from the public good. What would be an example of a accessory use by right for scientific use in an R20 zone? I mean, why is that even in there?
I don't know. Was somebody, had a linear accelerator in their basement?
Yeah.
Synchrotron, I don't know.
Back to the future car, that's all.
Doc.
No, I'm reading it. I'm saying, what's the example? I mean.
when they wrote it, there was probably something they had in mind.
Scientific research.
I can delete it if you think it's safe.
Research and development.
If there's nobody
Well-
to stand up for it.
Would that be, I mean, scientific research and development would,
It's a special permit required by a ZBA,
yeah,
first of all. Whether it passes that test, who the hell knows, but I just. I can't even visualize what the hell that means, or what.
Somebody was maybe doing drug testing in their garage or something, or,
They're doing that now. They call it-
You gotta be
Legal
behind the
now.
garage.
legal now.
Sometimes you can drive by and smell it.
No, yeah.
It is legal.
I meant prescription drugs, but I get it.
Would that be,
The only thing,
what?
did they write this in? So the mill could use around your place?
Oh,
What is it? D?
it's
Where are you?
accessory to a by right use, which might not be a residential use. It could
Right.
be an industrial
Could
use.
be industrial use.
In an R20 zone.
Yeah, which, and R20 does abut some of the mill properties. So
Hmm.
that might have been that.
Is it ever gonna go back to that use?
No, because now we want to get rid of that.
That's right.
We want to change that use also.
So I guess what I'm asking is this necessary?
Should we just get rid of that?
Excise it? Is that,
Sorry with me, I don't know any
I don't
reason to
even
keep it.
understand it.
Peggy, you okay with it?
I'm fine with that. I don't
Yeah.
have a problem with it.
So if you don't
Gordon,
mind,
if you're out there. He'll be going through it.
so we
Okay,
just
on
excise
to-
it?
I'm taking notes for the next draft and I've marked it for deletion.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Next is capital B paragraph or subsection, which is RA, which we're deleting, so I've just,
Okay, why are you deleting it?
RA is the RA 40 that we're collapsing down to R 30.
Do you think?
We're combining the two districts into R 30.
They just call it RA.
Well, sometimes it's called RA, and sometimes it's called RA 40.
I'd like to get rid of the whole A part of it because it's deceiving for people and it lets people, lends to too much of an argument.
I mean, I think, not having been here when this was enacted, I assumed that there was a desire to promote small scale agriculture on medium sized lots, right? Have big gardens, in other words.
There was that, but you also had Fairview Street was still a lot of field. It was all Consolati property was still all farm. So you had that stretch that they wanted to.
And that's RA 40?
Yeah. There was that, I'm guessing Stockbridge Road is R40 also.
Mhm.
Well, as long as we're not blocking in any way, somebody comes in and wants to have a small agricultural.
Never.
You can
Okay.
keep your large lot if you've got,
Yeah.
if you've got 40,000 square feet or more in an RA 40 zone and we rezone it, you can keep on doing what you've been doing.
Well, as they say, as long as we don't lock them people off, that's
Yeah,
my only
yeah.
concern.
I don't know that much about agriculture, but what I thought I knew was that if you want to make a living as a farmer, you need a lot of land. And you need a lot of product and, you know, gentlemen farmers, so-called, or gentlewomen farmers, I suppose nowadays, people putter around and they want to have small farms and small gardens, and that's great. And I think it's fine, but I'm not really fully comfortable with saying, you live there and it used to be a farm, and so therefore it can't be anything else but a small farm.
Mhm.
And you can't subdivide it enough so that we can have more housing on it because we want to reserve possibility that you'll be a gentleman farmer. It just doesn't make sense to me. We've got enough experience to know that isn't working, I think.
Well, time has been the proof. I mean, it's been in place a long time and no farmers have jumped in the.
Yeah,
They've actually it's gone down.
That's right.
It's gone.
farming goes away, right?
So basically the RA is.
The proposal one,
It's now the R30.
yeah, if proposal one passes, RA will become R 30 and we won't need this capital B
Because
subsection.
everything that was descriptive or narrative in the R30 is the old RA.
It pretty much was all the same except the dimensions, right?
Well,
As far as I know, I mean, I could compare the word for word, but,
Yeah.
but I get, one of my questions was, if you eliminate the text on the RA for the reasons we're looking at here, but the last paragraph under the by right uses, farm, forestry, nursery, including display and sale of natural products raised in town, which is agricultural.
where's that? Oh, yeah.
G. Page 5. G.
yeah,
So add that to the R30.
That's what it was.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just to not, because
What Dave is saying, Dave, I think you're saying here is the agricultural folks are gonna look at this, to wipe out the agriculture.
Yeah.
So if we at least insert G
oh,
into
Yeah.
the R
yeah.
30 realm, that would address that, right, Dave?
Yes.
Is that the approach?
Okay. Good catch.
Totally needs
I
to be
don't sleep
there.
well at night.
You probably don't.
Is there anything else from this struck out passage that we want to protect and add back into R 30? It's R 20 and R 30 really together in the first section. Okay,
Well, what about? There is a. Okay, no, we're okay. It's a multiple dwelling. Is there?
I think I went by the important thing that was in. Is there in subsection A, is there a limit on multiple dwell? Yeah, I went by that.
Section 2.
On page 2, going back now.
Yep.
Okay, the third block of type. This is the important substantive change. This is the first instance of it. We're increasing from 4 to 8 dwelling units on a lot. That's what I'm proposing. Now, I think we
What page
should,
you on?
on page 2,
There is no page 2.
in the handout that you got tonight,
Yeah, it's 3 and 4. Start page 3, top of the page.
you don't have this. Oh, you know what? The first version that I sent, which is what you're probably reading,
Right.
had
Where?
started numbering on page 3. And I
Oh,
fixed
okay.
that for today. The only thing I changed, so look on page 4, add 2 to the number that I'm saying, okay? I'm sorry.
No, that's
It was a
fine.
mistake that I made in word processing.
So your page 2 is my page 4.
Yes,
Gotcha.
yes.
All right.
Okay, third block of type. Should say paren small a. Multiple dwelling.
Yeah.
Okay. The big change is the third line, 4 becomes 8.
Right, so why don't we talk about that, because I think we had some discussion on that.
Well,
It wasn't
yeah, I mean, I
for-
think we need to talk about this at length because this context for this,
It goes all right through the whole thing.
it goes like this, every section has the same thing pretty much. Not all of them, but a lot of them do. My general broadest picture sense is that this bylaw was designed as to discourage multifamily housing in all sorts of ways. And it's written explicitly in places like this, and it's written sort of implied in places where they say, well, you better show up with this in your hand and you better have that fee, and you know. So the whole spirit of the thing was wrong, and I'm thinking to try to change it. I'm influenced by what happened at the Methodist Church on High Street, where this
Right.
guy came to us years ago and said he'd like to put 4 units in the backyard, and we said, no, it's can't have more than 4 on a lot. And I read an article in the Eagle more recently, which said that he's given up and he's selling it. And he's put a lot, I walk by there a lot, and he's put a lot of work in over the years. And, but he's
Yeah.
selling basically now the social hall. I don't know what they called it when the Methodists were there, but the sort of the end away from this part of town. That end is a very large, spacious looking apartment, and the sanctuary part, which is nearer to here, is, I guess, just unchanged or largely unchanged, and he's just selling it as 2 units.
Yeah.
And, but the article went on to say that he wanted to have, I think, 6. Maybe it was more, maybe it was 8.
No.
But anyway, he didn't qualify for A-Rod, and that maybe would have been the better way to solve it. And that would, if that's the way we go, maybe you don't need to do this 4 to 8 thing at all. But the other thing is, I just think that for me, saying that there's a maximum of 4 multifamily units on any lot is one of the most restrictive things we have at all in all of our bylaw. And I think it probably has a significant effect on our ability to have housing for younger people and people with, you know, less remunerative jobs. Because you just can't really build 4 units as efficiently as you can build. You tell me, 10, 15. And we haven't, we've already made huge chunks in the armor of this rule. When we did the SGOD up at the Eagle Mill, we said, by the way, I was shocked to read tonight before the meeting that there can be no more than 122 units on the SGOD. We need to change that, by the way. That needs to go into this draft, the next draft, so we can approve what we did retroactively. Kind of embarrassing, but the number of units in a building up in that part of, town is 40 or something. I mean, so, and then we passed another amendment for the price chopper that says whatever goes on up in the SGOD can go, the limits can apply. So I don't know if there are any limits in the DCBC. Do you think there are, Buck? Is there any maximum number of multifamily units?
Yeah, there was,
There was.
I couldn't find it in a quick look through the SGOD.
If you're not in the A-Rod.
Does the SGOD have a maximum number of multifamily units per building?
I think 122.
122 for the whole district.
Right, okay,
Couldn't find one for a building.
per building? No,
Yeah,
I don't
so
know.
I mean, it could have been 122 in a building.
Yes.
And I don't know what it is in the DCBC, if there is any. So, but I mean, if those benchmark guys come back, they're gonna be proposing putting 20 or 30 apartments in that Riverside building.
Close to 80.
Huh?
If they go that other plan, it was 60 plus 20. in the
60
front.
plus 20, okay. And so they think that they're entitled to that under the amendment that we passed. And so I don't disagree, I don't agree, I just haven't researched it enough.
Yeah.
But so we've got this situation in town where most of the town is maximum of 4. And then in the DCBC, it's maybe unlimited. And in the SGOD, it's maybe unlimited with a lot limit of 122. So we're like this,
First, I think the 4 came out of, they didn't want tenement houses.
Didn't want what?
Tenement houses.
Oh,
Right.
Is probably where they were coming from, because we did have real big active mills. And when they were writing this, they probably were fearful of something like that happening.
like row houses and
Row house, yeah, yeah.
factory houses
The
like
big factory
Ireland
house.
and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well, you see.
in North Adams.
North, yeah,
Prime example.
that's the one, right
Yeah.
there. That's what everybody was.
Okay, so what do we think? Do we still feel that way, or do we feel like we could accept some row houses if row houses are gonna be cheaper to build. They're not gonna be $420,000. They're gonna be less.
Row houses, basically, too.
You what?
Brownstones are.
Yeah.
Those were nice. Different places.
Well, whatever we have, and if it requires a site review, that would give us a little more teeth into the budget.
That's right.
Well, I mean, 8 units, 8 dwellings would be special permit, the select board. I mean, that gives you a lot of regulation there.
Unless it's in the SGOD, in which case it's a special permit here. And in the case of the DCBC price chopper lot, I don't know where it lies.
You have.
That's something to be determined, I think. But anyway, so 8 is an arbitrary pick. It's twice what we have. It's enough so that the guy who started in on the Methodist Church could have done what he wanted. Too late now for him. His property is for sale, but he's given up. But if we had another situation like that, with a building that wasn't quite A-Rod qualified, or an empty lot where somebody wanted to put in 8 townhouses, this would allow it.
Look at right at the corner of Fuller. That's an excellent example right there.
Oh, the old DeSimone proper?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuller and
Fuller and
Housatonic.
Housatonic.
Yeah.
I mean, 4
10%.
financially is gonna be. Yeah, I mean, that would be tight. You do 6 or 8 and that's
You can
feasible.
make it a business
You
case
can
if
make
that
it-
works.
yeah, that would work. And 2 really doesn't work when you put it in.
Well, 2 is better. I mean, if you've got a lot and you're planning on doing a rental, you can get more rent out of 2 middle-sized units than you can out of 1 giant
True. Yeah,
house rental.
right.
But the costs go up too, a lot.
Cost, you're still not gonna cover the mortgage. You
Yeah.
get into the 6 and 8,
Yeah.
you actually can almost cover your mortgage on that.
So it's really, I mean, it's
Fine.
just so interesting. I mean, there's part of me that says, and I'm sure part of the townspeople will feel like, oh, we really like our town small and rural and small townish and old fashioned and, just lots of bric-a-brac and, I like all that stuff. That's part of why I moved here. But on the other hand, we also say we want to have places for our kids to move into when they get done with school and get jobs. And it's not working for them right now. So we got to change something if we want to solve that problem.
So does the size of the property mean anything?
Let us to meet setbacks, let us to meet,
The setbacks and the side?
and utilities.
Right.
Well, Peg,
Because if you
No,
don't have
I
water,
mean,
you don't have water and sewer, you
Yeah.
can't do this.
pardon me?
If you don't have water and sewer,
Oh,
you
you're
can't do
right,
this.
right. But I mean, does the size of the property in any way determine how many units you're allowed to?
Yes.
It does.
Yeah.
well,
You talk about
So-
a half acre lot versus a acre and a quarter? I mean, the
No,
building
I know.
density,
That's what I'm thinking of, because most of the units downtown, not the ones in the, are very small. Very small.
most of the rental units are very small. Is that what you're
Most
saying?
of the houses, most of the units themselves are pretty small. They're not big units. I mean, they're not big size ones.
Are you saying most of the houses downtown are small? Is that what I'm understanding? That's what you're
Yeah,
saying?
the size of the property,
a lot.
of the
Small lot.
Oh,
lot.
the lot. Oh, not the building.
That's what
Oh, yeah.
I don't think we can do much to change the downtown.
I
I
don't
mean,
need,
I don't think we can jam places on lots that already have multiple units on it. So the downtown old feel is gonna stay. Where we're gonna look out is just outside of that
Yeah.
corridor.
When we started talking about this originally, we have the 4 units that we kind of collectively thought maybe an 8 would be a nice target. You seem to be a little apprehensive with the 8, and you're looking more like a 6.
well,
what was your
I'm
thoughts on that?
wondering. I mean, we keep hearing we want more people downtown, and I agree,
Hmm.
but the units, the size of many units in downtown are small.
Okay.
The size of the land.
Peg, let me just try to explain how I think this is going to work out if it passes. So we changed this from 4 to 8.
Right.
And then somebody comes in and says to the selectmen, I have a request here for special permit to construct an 8-unit apartment building on this lot.
Mm-hmm,
They're gonna go through all the stuff that goes on with special permit.
right.
And if they don't really have enough room for parking, if they don't really have enough room for setbacks, it's gonna be doubtful that they're gonna get the special permit. It's all highly discretionary with the town as to whether a particular project gets approved. This only says ceiling is higher for what you can ask.
Okay,
It doesn't say your lot is suitable for it. It doesn't say everybody who owns a lot in downtown is gonna be able to do it. It just says you can ask for more
then what is
than
current?
what's currently allowed to ask for.
Okay,
If the property metrics don't work, then you're not gonna get 8.
Because we're gonna,
well,
we're gonna maintain maximum coverage on all the lots too.
That's all later in the document. I think if we go with this, we should very carefully review all those parameters about setbacks and coverage and. Yeah, I think I made a big change to the coverage suggestions. And
Did you?
that's coming up, but probably not tonight. Later, much later in the draft. leave it in for now? Is that where you all are?
I think,
think
yeah,
so.
I don't know.
Dave, you okay?
Yeah,
I am.
Peg, tentatively?
yeah, tentatively.
Okay, good. Well, that's pretty close.
so you don't have to sign the check yet.
I'm not sorry.
All right, well, we talked about it. I've
We
given,
talked about it.
all right.
Yeah,
Okay, so now back to
So-
B, we found something we wanted from B that we wanted to rescue and put into A. Anything else in B, Conrad or anybody?
I'm sorry, what page you on?
yeah, what page are,
All right,
Oh,
well,
I can add two.
my three, your
boy.
five.
My five, okay, I'm on five.
So that farm forestry or nursery thing that you brought up, I noted we're gonna
We're
we're
gonna.
gonna move, copy that forward into A. Okay, and make that a allowable use.
Yep,
Okay,
so that's good.
and then let's go on to C. So in C, you see a lot of the same subject to all applicable stuff is all blanked out, but again, the meat of the thing is in,
Where is our RM? I think that's
oh,
Brown Memorial, isn't it? And
yeah, RM is the one where it was conflicting, where the at the bottom of page 4, his page 6, you see paragraph 2, A and B. And this was the one that Gordon brought to our attention, where it was in conflict with itself. The A and the B were in conflict with each other. It was like, you can't have more than 4, but you can have more than 4 if you do this. So what I said was, let's forget B. And let's just have special permit without a limit for residential multiple dwelling districts. Now, RM is a very small part of town. It's basically, I think, where there are already apartment buildings, right? I mean, it's,
yeah, Brown and then Clark Court.
Clark,
yeah, I think there are only 2 areas, right? I don't know which is which by name, but
Are they all built out now? We can't build anything more?
yeah.
Unless they tear down Clark Court and redo
build
that.
something better.
So, it's almost academic what we say here because it's not gonna be any applications, but is this okay? What I've done is to just say it's purpose of this district is residential multiple dwelling. There's no maximum limit. The maximum limit is determined by the lot as measured by the selectmen during a special permit hearing.
That's essentially it.
That sounds good.
Okay, make it that, really, if you did Clark Court now, those are all single family homes.
Yeah.
And that's just
We
ridiculous.
could have done a lot more with it.
They should be at least three to 5 units per.
That was way back. That was all of those.
Well, that-
Buck, you have a great perspective on this because your business brings you
Yeah,
in
your
contact with
business brings
a
you-
lot of new building that's going on that's completely different from anything
Yeah.
conceptualized here.
Yeah, I mean, that's the stuff we're talking about for here, I'm seeing over in the Hudson Valley and, I mean, although we just did one in Saratoga, and I mean, Saratoga is New York's style of Lennox is,
Mm,
they're snooty up there.
But they're building multifamily housing.
Not a problem. Yeah, well, yep.
I mean, you gotta do it
saw Where
right.
they did it.
You gotta do it right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Remember they did it over Price Chopper?
it's right. It's right by the tracks.
Yeah,
Oh,
But they
really?
did it.
Oh,
But you also got the chip fab
yeah.
factories up there and
Yeah.
all the employment. Now you got another
Yeah.
big plant going in
They got
again.
Yeah,
a
you do.
huge,
I mean, that's,
huge.
a lot of
area.
people are gonna.
Global Foundries.
big demand for housing. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, Global Foundries is just,
You
going
good
crazy.
for that, right?
Saratoga County has been a boom area for 50 years.
I mean, Clifton Park is,
Yeah.
it's crazy. Every chain store there is,
Hmm.
is over there now. It's
The
almost
yards are
as bad as,
closing.
it's almost as bad as down south. I mean, you go, I don't know if you've gone to southern cities, but they do their developments where they'll build roads and they're very circular. They clover leaf everything. And then they'll have buildings with at least 3 to 5 units in all of them. And it'll be one entrance. You can't even see it from the main road. and then it just clover leaves off. And, yeah, it's,
My son lives in such a place in Maryland,
yeah,
Yeah.
Maryland, yeah, all down south.
all new building.
All down
It's
south.
built 20 years ago, but they've been doing it for a long time,
Yeah.
the same way.
We're New England,
We're New England though,
we are. That's when, like, when
for better or
Jeff
for
came
worse.
in, you know, I mentioned it to him last time when he talked about his associate talked about that other housing development, and he had the very bright colors. I'm thinking,
Yeah,
ooh.
it's true.
But he quickly backtracked.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
So we need to make accommodations to the fact that we're New England, we're not Maryland, we're not Pennsylvania. But we still have a shortage of
North
housing.
Carolina,
Yeah.
too.
Now, if we have Eagle Mill gets finished, Price Chopper gets finished, how short are we then?
Wow. So 100 and, what was that, 143?
We'll be around 200 more new units.
It'll be, and then 80,
No, well,
143 plus 80,
220.
220.
220.
That's
You've
good.
got what someone wants to do.
Yeah,
plus
that other,
mill, that's another 50 something, 58 was
I
it?
don't know,
That would be,
but, I mean, it doesn't mean, I just saw something today where Pittsfield, they did a calculation, they're 2,800 short right now.
That's right, I read the same article.
2,800 units short, housing,
Yeah.
Yeah,
with all of the loss of economic activity they have up there, they're still short.
yep,
You know, it's a regional and a national issue, and it isn't entirely zoning that's a problem. It has to do with venture capital funds buying up properties for short-term rentals and a lot of macro stuff that we can't control or even
or they're
know about.
buying them up just for resale, driving the prices up. The hedge funds are buying up just everything that comes for sale.
They buy cash.
They
Yeah,
buy it cash and they
Yeah.
bump up the price,
yeah.
and they're saying that's what's driving a lot of these prices up now.
And I heard another thing last week, which shocked me. I hadn't realized it, but it makes sense. The Federal Reserve for several years now has been buying repackaged mortgages.
Mhm.
So the way it works is I go down and I say, gee, I want to buy this house. This venture capitalist is selling. Oh, it's a huge price, but let me go to my bank and talk to them. I go to the bank. I say, I can meet some sort of standard for paying the mortgage. Maybe it looks a little iffy, maybe it looks risky. The bank says, we'll give you the mortgage. What do they do with the mortgage? They bundle it into a package, a securitized,
It goes home again.
it goes into a package and they sell it to the Federal Reserve.
right,
Now who's got the risk? The Federal Reserve. And they've just made a nice deal and collected some lovely fees. And the price of housing keeps going up. Suddenly it makes sense to me why, about the time that they started buying these packages. I mean, it was also COVID. There were other things going on, but this apparently is a factor. Anyway, so, we can't fix it, but just by changing lease zoning, but we can relieve the pressure a little bit and people will have a little bit less square footage probably than my generation had. But, at least they'll have a place to live. That's not the backseat of their car.
Another thing, we're just having 16 units on Laurel Street. Those are gonna be.
oh, yes, those would be good.
Yeah, they'll-
That's
When
gonna
is
be
he gonna
nice.
finish that?
Huh?
When's he gonna finish that?
Where is it?
Yeah. On Laurel Street, one good
Oh,
time.
he's been at it a long time.
I'm
Yeah.
watching it.
16 units.
7:30.
Oh, good.
We're a hard exit at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, that's fine. We're not gonna finish this tonight. There's
No.
way too much detail to go, but this is the big one, I think, this 8 thing.
And I think it'll be a lot of discussion.
I do too.
But it comes down. The property you guys both know, the Abderhalden house. What
Just sold.
difference? It's 6 units.
7.
So
I was surprised.
it is,
I think there's one in the attic.
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, that'd be a stretch to make that occupable, if you can
That's right.
occupy that, but still. You're not gonna notice that if it's 4 or if it's 8. is gonna be the same impact,
Cars, more cars.
possibly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But even, you know, we've said that, I mean, I've watched the Veterans Home on East Street. Oh my God, that was,
Oh, the
you
end
know,
of the world.
all it was gonna be was strippers and crackheads, and I haven't seen any of them
No.
either.
No,
you know?
all professional people.
All professional, you don't even see them come and go. It's hilarious, you know, something else, and the whole neighborhood came out for that.
It was a great
Against it.
conversion.
And,
Great
then we had the, on Prospect Street, the old nursing
Yeah.
home. Same thing was said about that.
Too.
That was
Quiet.
untouchable for years.
Oh,
I know.
But it's very quiet now, isn't it?
Yep.
You don't see it.
22 units an hour, I think, right?
Yeah,
That doesn't seem
Yeah,
possible.
I know. You know,
guess it
both-
does.
granted, both of those are market rate. Some of
Yeah,
The other stuff would be affordable,
Yeah.
but,
but even having the market rate is good too.
and they're full, so.
Yeah.
All right, where we headed?
Conservation Residential District, paragraph D, my page 5, your page 7.
Almost done with that. Except for, next page, G. My 8, your 6.
Right, but do you wanna, I mean, the text is, we changed in CR, but I think there was another change we had in it.
I'm just wondering, because it is CR, farm, forestry, and nursery, including the display and sale of natural products raised or processed in town. Would that, with the word processed, help the ag people? Or no?
Well, processed is tough because that would be manufacturing.
We're talking about farm related stuff, agricultural related.
Yeah, but I still don't. I don't, processed would, comes to mind a slaughterhouse.
Okay.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, no, I'll pass on that. I'm trying to see what would the ag people get some benefit out of this. But they're already getting benefit out of this.
They're already raising it
They are. Yeah,
They're
yeah.
able to.
and they're selling the products. I mean, I think if they're doing their own stuff on
Yeah.
site,
Yeah.
it's already
That's
inferred.
out there.
You got it?
Hey, Jimmy Mack, he's got a production system up there when they do chickens.
Oh, yeah,
Oh my God, they'll do 160 in an afternoon.
really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah. You drop them in a cone.
Oh,
You ever seen that done?
Yeah, I have, yeah. Get them upside down.
Yep.
Yeah,
hmm.
and like in a funnel, yeah.
Funnel.
I guess the way we always saw it was the old fashioned way.
Yeah.
Somebody holds the wing and the
Yeah.
knives and.
Yeah.
And nobody's got
Maybe.
Whack them,
That's in a chopping block.
Yeah,
and you throw them into a barrel.
yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's what, it's like a washing machine, it defeathers them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right, so
Okay.
on to
Anyway.
CR, and I didn't notice this when I was writing this draft, but appears that multifamily is not even allowed as a special permit in CR. Is that what we want? No multifamily in CR? Maybe we do.
No, we did though.
Huh?
We did, didn't we?
We did what?
What? Multifamily in a CR.
I don't know. I didn't notice until just now that it wasn't even listed. I was going through, taking out all of my in accordance with stuff, and I didn't bother to look at the substance.
I mean, in CR, I think we can also take out land or structures primary purpose of agriculture, horticulture on lots of 5 acres or more.
Where are you seeing that?
C,
Yeah.
1C,
One C.
One.
D1C.
One C.
You want to take that out, Buck?
I think so. Then you could do it on any amount of land in that zone, right? By taking that out.
Yeah. It doesn't even make sense really, does it? Unless you have a 5 acre minimum.
No, I mean, and this was before the right to farm bylaw came around also, I think is why this is still here. Then we
Okay.
came up with right to farm.
Yeah.
Which basically does
Yeah.
this,
Yeah,
so,
So you're saying that that actually precludes
yeah.
stuff. rather than- Yeah.
so over on page my 6, your 8, Conrad. Paragraph 2 talks about uses requiring a special permit from the Board of Selectmen. And it lists resort, but it doesn't say anything about multifamily, which is where it would appear in other analogous sections.
Mm-hmm.
Should I add something here to allow multifamily in CR?
I don't think so.
Everybody okay?
All right with me.
Are we limiting size or just subject to Board of Selectmen 13.4?
I think have the same wording as the rest of our chapters.
Yeah.
Maximum 8.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I think that's right. I mean, you don't want a 500, unit subdivision or apartment building up on the ridge in the CR zone, right? So, I mean, we want to have some restrictions.
Have a resort and then the resort turns into a timeshare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have that too.
Okay, so that takes care of D, capital D, on to E, which is rural business district. And look at that, there's nothing changes here. We can definitely delete that. Oh, no, 1B, I got detached two-family dwelling subject to the dimensional requirements. So that's the only thing that's changed
That
here.
was universal throughout.
That's the same as other changes in other sections, yeah. So, and then at the bottom of my 7, your 9, Conrad, 2, I've taken out in accordance with, subject to all, and then the 4 to 8 is right at the bottom of page 7.
Yeah.
Okay. And nothing else really substantive in that subsection. F is reserved, G is CBC. And on my page 9, paragraph 2A.
Yeah, why just?
Why'd you strike out the whole line?
Oh, that's a mistake. That's a
For
mistake.
dwelling.
I think I got my overstrikes backwards here. I should, in compliance with the special requirements of 199.2 should go out. And then this last 10 words or so should be returned.
Just like the others, right?
Make it 8,
No more than
yeah.
8.
Yep.
Sorry.
Oh, hey, that's why we do this.
Yeah, that's why you have more than one pair of eyes, yeah.
And I'm
Okay.
actually starting to look at this.
Huh?
Not just lazy, you know how I read it usually. Oh, yeah, that looks good, Peter. I'm awful. I don't look at it detailed enough.
Okay, H up to H, I guess. DCBC.
Yeah.
And 4 to 8 dwelling units is about 2/3 of the way down, my page 11.
Yeah, so I guess I was wondering, why did we put a limit on that at all? Yeah, they, see, the DC.
Yeah. I don't think there is one right now. I mean, this is the price chopper issue, what,
Well, I mean, you can do. I was just reading through our. There is multiple dwelling and you can go up to 12 units.
oh, that's what, that was the
Yeah.
bylaw we passed for the DCBC?
Yeah, DCBC.
How is,
Well, no, under 9.2. Multi-dwelling.
well, I think I've got an
dwelling
amendment,
developments,
I've got an amendment on that coming up.
Special permit.
9.2 is further down in the document, here, I think.
Where are we clicking in?
So, section 9.2 of the bylaw is what Buck was referring to, and that begins the amendment to that proposed is proposal 6 amendment, begin on page 19.
Well, do we not get ahead of ourselves? We'll work through this.
Yeah. So, it could be, Buck, that we can avoid this whole 4.2 business by repealing all of the 4s and moving everything into 9.2 and saying, here's the maximum by district in 9.2. And we might be able to avoid a lot of pages. I don't know. It's just a drafting tactic.
Change to the
The location of
Table
where the
two.
restrictions, yeah, I mean, I can add it, there's a table in 9.2.
well, it references our dimensional table.
Page 21.
Of your draft,
Yeah.
23 for you.
Keep adding 2 for you, Conrad, because we know you're sort of mathematically disabled over there.
Oh, shots fired.
Being an engineer and all, we know that adding 2 is.
But it's also late.
We used to use always bigger digits.
You know what we really love? When they put C footnote next to
Oh.
something.
Yeah,
And it'll be they'll reference the footnote, it'll be 4 pages away. It'll be like, oh, son of a bitch, we missed that.
yeah.
Okay, so what are we looking at?
Well,
23?
what I was saying to Buck a minute ago was, there's a table on page 21 for me.
Yeah.
Which has a lot of information by zone on restrictions on multifamily housing.
Yep.
One of those is a maximum dwelling units per acre.
Yep.
I could add a column here that's maximum dwelling units per lot. And avoid and repeal all the stuff that's in 4.2.
We would still have to delete it.
It'd still take a couple of pages to delete it.
Yeah.
But I could even list just the section numbers, and say this is repealed and that's repealed and that's repealed and by section number. I don't know. So keep it in mind. Let's leave it for now and think it over. Okay, so are we up to HDCBC? What do we want to do with this? Do we want to eliminate the 8?
In DCBC, I think so. How 9.2 reads right now in development standards. No more than 12 units shall be in any one building.
Anywhere.
So how's that work?
I don't know how that works.
Well, we kitchen, put some of you guys are paying about that.
Why don't I suggest for now that we strike out the last half of this sentence, starting with provided that no more than 4 dwelling units shall be built on a lot. Maybe we'll strike out more later, but. Okay, for now. All right. PCVC. I am adding the bottom of page 12, I'm adding a D, 2D. To say 1 family rental or condominium dwellings, 2 family rental or condominium dwellings, and multiple dwelling rental or condominium dwellings. Provided that ownership of the underlying land is not divided. I can't remember where I got that from. Might be from a footnote to the table.
Boy, with what's going on at the outlets now, that might be a solution for them.
It's not from the table, you're right. I thought of it, this was just a suggestion that I cooked up myself. We gotta think about it, you know, the whole lot is a special permit. It's an undivided ownership.
Mm-hmm.
And it would probably have to remain an undivided ownership.
So it'd be a condominium style.
Yeah,
Please.
so that's where I got the rental or condominium idea. We're at the bottom of our page 12, Conrad. The PCVC and paragraph 2D. The new language, the underlined language at the bottom of page 12.
Yeah, so I guess that was my question. Why was that added?
Why is that added? Well, because the outlet village seems to be suffering the same difficulties that retail spaces everywhere are suffering. And one of our concepts is, you know, nice walkable communities that are mixed uses. And maybe allowing some housing up there in some of those buildings would be a useful thing to authorize. But you wouldn't want them to carve out lots and make it a subdivision.
Right.
But they could have condominiums, which are just basically, you know, rights to airspace. And without owning the underlying lot. And you could have rental units, and those people would have lots of shopping available.
Look at, in Lennox,
Oh, yeah, the place is just north of the,
where Antimonies and
Yeah.
On a Roll and all that is. Brushwood, not is it Brushwood? No, the Lennox shops.
Yeah, Lennox
Yeah.
shops.
Yeah.
Lennox shops, yeah.
I don't know if those are condominiums. I think those are lots.
The,
No,
in back,
in
back,
back, they
the
don't.
the two giant
They
buildings.
don't. Ward,
I
The
think,
townhouses that are,
Yeah.
Ward picked them up.
I think they are townhouses. Yeah, more, you're correct.
Yeah.
He was
but
a
either,
developer.
it's similar,
And they're very nice.
you know, it could be condos.
people like living near shops. Some people do.
They like them.
Yeah,
They sell them.
yeah.
Big,
I think Ward was also involved with the Methodist Church now, if I remember reading that article.
Oh. Huh.
well, they built a lot of places.
I didn't speak to the guy. I went up there to look for him, but he wasn't around.
I think that's a great addition
Okay.
on that.
Another question on planned PCVC, the 1A. Planned commercial villages defined in article. Definitions provided that the total square foot area does not exceed 75,000 square feet. That's gonna be 200,000 square feet or more up there.
So we should just strike this because it's been ignored and we don't want to enforce it? We don't want them to tear the place down, do we?
No, oh, no, right, right.
Right,
That's what I mean.
yeah.
So I'll strike, starting with provided that. and all
No, hold on. You don't need to because down below it's by special permit. The planning board, when it exceeds 75,000.
If it exceeds 75.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
Good.
it's gotta be 200,000 square feet up there, isn't it?
Oh, you must sell a lot. Huge.
I would think so.
Big.
yeah.
Okay, on to industrial district. And there's no residential here, so we can go through this quickly, I guess.
Well,
By special permit there is.
well, under 1A, uses allowed by right. So it says any manufacturing use application, all this. It's allowed by right. Shouldn't that be subject to lease site plan approval? Any industrial use? So
Oh, whether it's requires a site plan or not is a different question than whether it's a right by right use. Some of our site plans are for by right uses, some of our site plans are for special permit uses. But if they're different, it's a different issue.
If it's over 10,000 square feet, it's a site plan right away.
Well, if it's not 10,000 square feet, would we still want to know that? Again, industrial.
Hmm.
It's like
I
that.
don't know. I think the idea here probably was, it's kind of a free for all in an industrial zone. It just let it rip,
And unless it's big,
unless it's
bigger,
big.
and
Yeah,
then 10,000 for industrial is
not huge.
not huge.
Yeah,
Well, is it contiguous with a residential lot line?
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's no protections here. I'm just saying. You don't want it to be a free.
Hasn't been a problem.
Hmm?
Doesn't seem like it's been a problem. Except for the one that is a problem.
It's always.
Our most recent one was up on Marshall Road, right? Smiley's?
No, oh, that was a special permit. No, I'm thinking the industrial, road facility.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
Industrial and that,
place.
but we have things that'll fix that in there, because they don't want
So if you get into like the Greylock Mill, industrial zone, industrial building, everything's existing, and they want to change, what do you must say, change of use? You want? Well, yeah, I guess it'd be a change of use. We want to be identified as what's going on with there. It's not right now, but they have to come back to us. Not really.
10,000 square feet.
If it's over 10,000 square feet, change of use, they'd have to come to us anyway.
So 100, right, 100 by 100.
That building's huge.
It is huge.
Hmm.
And I think
we're gonna-
the residents around there want to know.
You ready? You ready to call it?
well, yeah, we can stop anytime or we can try to finish 4.2 if you want, but we got another 3 pages to go, but it'll go fast. Let's try to just finish it if we can, unless you got any more on this section?
I mean, okay, uses special permit by the planning board. Apartments, lots, or other residential uses.
Yeah, that's what I got. So,
Do we want to add in?
What page are you on?
14.
16. So,
14 plus 2. Yeah, I can do that. Thank you.
so if it's 3D, apartments, lofts, or other residential uses. So any other residential uses, would that be single family, duplex? Is that gonna be,
Well, because then if you go, it's one, because if you go to our table,
the new one,
table 2,
the new one, or?
well, going from our old one,
Yeah,
table 2. Industrial's not even listed, not permitted for multifamily.
we wanted to,
I don't see why not.
In the industrial zone? Yeah, I don't think I'm in favor of that.
but the industrial use is no longer being used. And somebody wanted to.
Yeah,
take a
but
copy and-
you build an apartment house in the industrial zone and then the guy next door puts in a factory and, I mean, it's. What you'd be saying if you did that was separation of uses geographically is no longer important, really.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that we really segregate is industrial from residential.
We
Those are the
keep
only-
it apart, right?
But under 1D, we're saying that. Special permit by the planning board. That apartments and lofts or other residential uses.
Can be allowed on the yeah, we did that once. We
We just did, yeah.
just did within the last year, I think, we had a building down there that the owner couldn't rent and she wanted to live in it, I think, or wanted to rent it out.
Oh, well.
Oh, yeah,
Smiley-
that's,
Yeah.
Alpin's old.
Health
Yeah,
place.
Dolphins.
I'm so clueless about this part of it.
But then
I'm glad you guys could.
Smiley was just in with up on,
The house.
Woodlawn Road.
Woodlawn
Building
Road
a house on-
Oh,
is he Woodlawn or Mount Washington?
No, Woodlawn.
Was on,
So if somebody wanted to have a single family house or a duplex, an industrial zone, like.
special permit for
I
us.
guess, right? I don't know the man, but that's,
They can do it.
they can do it.
Special permit.
Yeah. And if you drove up by that, it's all houses.
Yeah.
it's all houses.
But for some
up
reason,
there.
they're
Yes.
carved out.
Oh,
as
That's
industrial.
one thing we have, these big areas, all the paper mills,
Mhm.
they're right in the middle of residential zones.
Yeah,
But they carved out a big lot,
Yeah,
for industrial.
that's the thing. So,
Golden Hill Road is, if you got that, right? Golden Hill, it goes down into
Yeah.
towards the river.
yeah.
So I
So
guess
that's
what I'm
enough.
asking here is, do we add single family houses or duplexes under 1D? Or is that not necessary?
or is our big idea of industrial gone?
It is,
Our
but,
hopes, you mean?
Huh?
Our hopes for a big industry in Lee, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, coming out of the master plan, I think that's, the big paper mills are,
Jeff Cohen's son-in-law, when he was here, I was talking about, Graylock Mill,
yeah,
where they were talking about the Graylock splitting it into three pieces.
right. but it's
Some
still-
housing, some, rental of industrial space.
But
Uh,
light industrial,
yeah.
right? Which goes next to residential pretty well.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Then I kind of think that's where we are now.
I don't think the master plan people saw the end of industry in Lee. I mean, I think that they were thinking more about 102.
Yeah.
You know, success along 102 than they were about the old mills. I think they're kind of different problems, really. Yeah, I think we can, I mean, I think we can just say residential uses and take out apartments, lofts or other. Right? Residential
Yeah,
uses
really
of any
more-
kind.
That would be more inclusive, I guess.
yeah, as long as it comes down from approval.
Yeah.
I think
It is
that's a
special
fair way to
permit,
put it.
yeah. And under 1H or 3H, 100,000, any facility exceeding 100,000 square feet shall not, the products of storage of product shall not exceed 70%. Where the hell did that come from? I mean, if you're talking about warehousing, I mean, you want room for warehousing and have 30% office space to 70% warehouse space, that doesn't make sense. Should it be something like 85-15, something? You see what I'm saying?
I don't know why we care in the industrial zone, whether it's 100% or 70% of floor area that's used for
No, that's another way to look at it.
storage.
Yeah.
I mean,
Walmart.
Walmart, yeah.
That was
Yeah.
Walmart
That
warehouse.
was to stop Walmart.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, oh,
Really?
Yes.
Yes, it
The truth
was.
be
I
told.
remember that.
Remember, you
I remember that.
Yes.
I do. Yes.
Come on, Dave, I bet you do. I can vaguely remember a
can-
little bit of
I-
it.
So
Yeah.
should we leave this hornet's nest
Do you remember
undisturbed?
that?
Leave it alone. Yeah. Because everybody will wonder where the heck, I mean, I'm reading it. Where the heck did that come from?
Well, then you'll just say Walmart.
Walmart.
There will be people there that will,
Gordon will remember
Walmart was
Yeah.
gonna build a warehouse here?
on 102.
yeah,
Yes. Right where the sewer
Right.
treatment plant
Oh,
Yeah.
is
oh,
now.
oh, oh.
Yes.
people have houses
Oh,
across
and
the street
they
and
went
they
out
were
of their minds.
crazy.
And it was the trucks that was the problem for them, or just they hate
I
Walmart?
think
Well, they
8
wanted,
big boxes, yeah.
yeah,
Oh.
yeah,
The
I
main
remember.
right there, I mean, this is easy on, easy
It's a
off.
good thing
Yeah.
for Walmart, yeah.
You still got a piece for sale down there, but it's, I understand Eichelser's old farm's up for sale again.
oh, really?
Mr. Chairman, I think I'm out of time.
Oh,
I think. we-
hey, I
yeah.
think we did good.
Some stuff to think about. I think it's a
Yeah.
great start. I can't believe we just keep rewriting this
That's right.
over and over and over.
And the more we take out, the better I like it.
Yes,
Yeah,
I mean, we
I
make
kinda-
it easier for
we,
people to
I-
come in and.
I agree.
I
It's
think
so
over the
confusing.
past few years, I mean, between site plan streamlining and all that, and now this, gonna be much nicer.
I think we can do more that, you know, you can look at other town bylaws, they're shorter. They have tables instead of just repeating stuff over and over again. They put it in the table and it takes up 10% of the space. I think after we get through this round and this year's annual meeting, eventually starting after this week, right, we're gonna have a
Yeah.
planner.
That's right.
We will, yeah.
So,
Maybe we should start talking up to the town that, you know, we really have a long-range project in mind of fitting this thing into a funnel.
Exactly. Good way to put it.
Narrowing it down.
That's right.
I mean, you take all the text and you look at our dimensional requirements. And you could almost go just off dimensional requirements with a few, you know, narratives in there.
Yeah, there's so much repetition.
Yeah.
It's-
Yeah.
And so much, you know, there's so much sort of psychology written into it. It's like, okay, we said you can have single family housing and we also said you can have multifamily housing, but it has to be in compliance with everything we can think of and a few more things too.
I mean,
boy.
you almost,
Well, it
What were they
almost,
thinking? You
it
know?
almost seems to me that the original zoning was in place and we kept adding. It,
You
we
did.
didn't. They added to it and added to
Oh,
it
yeah.
and
Like-
left the originals.
The
in place.
SGOD is the worst. It's like they didn't even read the bylaw. The guys that wrote the SGOD thing wrote it in Boston, you know, some law school. And it was like they redefined things and they, you know, they're already defined and, oh, it's some.
it was it's basically, in that defense, it was supposed to be a standalone bylaw. Is why it does.
According to
contradict.
the people from Boston, but you know, I mean,
The people from
it's
Boston.
like we have two towns. We have the SGOD town and we have the rest of the town.
It's just what it was, because
Yeah.
it was that much of a change.
All right, I don't think I'll do another draft for you. There hasn't been that
No,
much
we
change.
hold on to
So
it.
keep going, keep from here. Okay.
Okay, one more motion?
To adjourn.
Yeah,
So move.
2 weeks.
Second,
You got it?
I'm wondering where the holidays are on this.
not yet.
I think we can make another 2 weeks. We just had a.
It'll be the
meeting
ninth.
scheduled.
The ninth?
The second Monday.
Good. That was good. That was good progress.
Thank you all.
Thank you. No, good.
Okay, we're all done.